Welcome to the Digital Marketing Mentor. I'm your host, Danny Gavin, and together with industry leaders and marketing experts, we'll explore the meeting point of mentorship and marketing. We'll discover how these connections have affected careers, marketing strategies, and lives. Now get ready to get human. Welcome back. I'm Danny Gavin, founder of ODEO, marketing professor, and the host of the Digital Marketing Mentor. In 2026, we're introducing a new feature-style series that I'm especially excited about, spotlighting alumni of ODEO Academy and sharing real, behind-the-scenes stories of career transitions into digital marketing. These episodes are all about the journey, where someone started, what pushed them to make a change, what it was actually like to learn digital marketing from the ground up, and where they are now after taking that leap. Today's guest is a great example of that journey. I'm joined by Shiri, an ODEO Academy alum, who made a career pivot into digital marketing and is now an SEO strategist. Shiri brings a thoughtful, honest perspective on what it really takes to transition into this field, from the doubts and the challenges to the wins and growth along the way. In this conversation, we'll talk about Shiri's background before marketing, what led her to make a change, her experience inside ODEO Academy, how she landed her first opportunities, and the advice she'd give to anyone considering a similar path. So whether you're exploring digital marketing for the first time, thinking about a career pivot, or just curious what these journeys actually look like in real life, this episode is for you. All right, Shiri, so tell us a little bit about your career before digital marketing.
Before I actually went into digital marketing, I ran a music studio, taught some piano and guitar lessons, and I mainly worked in a primary school, working with children around maybe 7 or 8. That was like my main job before I went into marketing.
And what did you enjoy most about working with kids or working in the music studio?
Getting a feel of just working with other people that are not necessarily your type, and just, working in an environment with other type. That's pretty much the main thing that I enjoyed a lot.
And before getting into the world of digital marketing, how did you see yourself professionally?
Well, I was young and very naive, so I didn't actually see myself as a professional digital marketer at all. It wasn't very something I was actually thinking of. Before that, I worked because I had the time and I was just out of seminary. So it was more like, make up my time, get some money as well. And I wasn't actually thinking about profession before that, no.
When was the first time you realized that you needed a change? And how did you discover ODEO Academy?
I needed a change and I realized that, working in a school, working in a studio, it wasn't necessarily very, stable. It wasn't necessarily something that I felt like was a long-term profession that I needed to do. I found out about ODEO. Well, firstly, I did do a lot of research on lots of different courses, whether it was like interior design and whether it was a lot of psychology and all. A lot of that spoke to me, but then my sister's friend told me about ODEO. And literally from the first second, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. In my head, it covered everything. Like it's this type of job that you can do remotely. So I could just take it anywhere. I could work on the beach. I could work in my house. Like it's the type of job I can do whenever, whatever. And one of the things that spoke to me a lot is that digital marketing, it basically includes everything. If you want to be good at content writing, so you can do that. If you want to be good at the designing, so you can also do that. It didn't feel boring to me. It felt very interesting. Google's always changing. There's always more to learn. There's always, more to update. It's never just the same, regular. This is what I saw in digital marketing that really pulled me. That it was very interesting, especially for a computer job. That's what it was.
So how did that compare to the other courses? Did they seem like they were just more one track? You didn't have much flexibility?
Very much. It covered more or less one topic, whether it was even just to do with maths or whether it was even just to do with, design. I felt that digital marketing was, you can have almost everything, in just and a computer job. It's not like you have to rely on other people and, once you have the job, you're in it. You've got a job. You don't have to call up interior designers and get your name out there as much as it's just online for you.
So once you knew that digital marketing was for you, what were you looking to achieve by taking ODEO?
It really looked like it's a strong foundation. ODEO covers everything, literally everything. I found that lots of times a lot of it is theory, the ODEO, and then the practicality is actually getting a job, which a lot of times makes sense in a course. So I did take it, which was all the theory, but it really covers everything, all the foundation that you need to know. And you feel solid after you've taken the course. You really feel like you're confident, you can have help, you know what you're doing, there's a set standard every single week, different challenge. So it did feel very stable. And yeah, it really did speak to me like that.
I know it's a couple months ago, but was there anything that made you hesitant before signing up?
No, really not.
You felt good.
Yeah, it ticked all the boxes. People say studying could be boring. Digital marketing was not boring. ODEO made it really interesting, and it really, really teaches you.
So now going deeper into the program, what were some of the most impactful skills or concepts you learned during the program?
Because it's in theory, everything's like in the book. Once I put it into a job, I felt like, oh yeah, ODEO taught me this, and oh yeah, ODEO taught me that. Whilst I was doing the course, I'm not so much, but as I took it into my content, and I do a lot of content writing, and as I took it into my job, I realized, oh yeah, of course I know this. ODEO taught this to me. So I feel like it's very general that it was a lot of things I just automatically picked up because I had learned it with ODEO.
It's interesting that you mentioned theory. So obviously in ODEO, we try to do the challenges and the final project. Do you still feel like those are theoretical relative to a real job, or did those actually help you get into that next job?
No, of course it helped. You're not actually a digital marketer or an SEO of a business. You got to learn it somehow. In my head, if I would tell someone what I was doing, it would obviously all be in theory until they actually see it in a job. You can explain why we have title tags and why there's H2 and why the meta descriptions. Once I saw it on my computer, I was like, of course I know this. I learned it with ODEO.
While you were studying, was there something that surprised you?
Basically, everything's surprising. I tell you what's interesting is that Rifki Levin kept telling me, I don't know if she still works you, but she kept telling me it's like a light bulb, You study and study and study. And I found that ODEO with digital marketing is a completely new subject. I found that, you're not necessarily including maths here, and you are, but a lot of it was extremely new. I said, like learning maths for the first time, just had come out of STEM. And she kept telling me a light bulb's going to turn on. And I was like, I'm not going to say I found it very easy at the beginning. I didn't. And I really worked hard. Like I worked a bit too hard. And I studied and studied and studied way over my time. And I felt that, I was waiting for the moment. And then towards the end, I literally got it. And I was like, obviously, like it made so much sense. And she kept telling me you'll get it. And I really, really did. And I think that the ongoing support that ODEO gives really helps you understand everything you need to know. You're not left feeling doubt with absolutely anything. Because, I feel like that's what surprised me the most. It was something so new. And then I just was like, oh, it makes so much sense. ODEO really got me there.
Yeah, just to restate what that is, we'll tell people, when you're in the thick of it, learning about SEO, learning about Google Ads, it might seem overwhelming. But, as with anything, the first time you learn it, it's going to be overwhelming. But that's why in the course, we go everything 2-3 times. And by the end, there is, for most people, almost everyone, there's that light bulb moment, that click, where it's like, now I understand how it all fits together. And
100%.
That's really cool.
It really does happen. I'm not going to say I always believed it. And when it happened, I was so grateful. I was like, thank you, ODEO. Like, now I get it, all that help. It's really amazing.
Well, sure. It's kind of like SEO, right? We work on it very hard. We don't always see the results, but then it works, right?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Exactly.
A lot of people who take ODEO are people who are switching careers. Now, obviously, you didn't have such a large career before getting into digital marketing. But there's people who are like nurses for years, and a lot of them are kind of scared to do a career change. Do you have any advice for them?
Having an online job is very useful, especially my job. She is very easy with how many hours I want to do. I officially do 4 hours a day, but I could do more, I could do less. It's very flexible. Having an online job, it's useful, I guess is the word. As I said, you could take whatever you like. Being a nurse and being all different other jobs are much more demanding. You can open up your laptop. If you want your website to do well, which is demanding, but at the end of the day, it's more or less up to you, rather than going into a job and being in person. I find is a bit more demanding in that sense of just opening up your laptop at 11 o'clock at the night because I want to work for an hour instead of working tomorrow morning. Much more flexible, I find. Do I have advice to them? Listen, ODEO is a great course, so you don't have to be worried about that. And digital marketing is also an amazing thing, and there's always jobs, I find. So go ahead, I guess, follow your dreams.
What did the job search or next steps look like after you finished ODEO?
There's always jobs for SEO. I don't know if this should be recorded, but I actually had a really good hashkacha story with my job because I had actually met this lady to meet her son. This just didn't work out. When I met my mother, I said to her, I remember the lady telling me about SEO, or maybe she has something. In the end, she ended up becoming my boss. So I actually had it really easy with finding a job, but most people I know who have taken the course have all found jobs. I know I have a friend who's already, I think, taken 3 jobs since she took the course. There's always jobs in SEO. She's like, yeah, she did one, and then she did another, and she's not, I don't know, maybe it was better pay, maybe it was better hours. But I find that with Google, every single website doesn't even just need one person working with them. They can have multiple people working for them. So there's always a job with SEO, and I didn't find that hard.
Wait, so for our non-Jewish listeners, so you went on an arranged date because that's what we do in the Orthodox world. You didn't end up moving forward with the relationship with this young man, but you're saying his mother was the one who was now your boss for SEO.
Exactly.
That is cool. So that is a perfect example of like God provides us with all these blessings and things around us. And sometimes we don't know why we had to go through. So like, for example, Shiri, she had to go through this date,
100%.
which, it didn't really work out. But you know what? Because of that, she was able to get her
Yeah,
first job. That is so cool and so
exactly.
meaningful.
And yeah, and I had no interview with her, and she didn't need my CV because when we were meeting each other, I spoke to all about my ODEO course and what I'd be learning with ODEO. So when she asked me for the job, she already knew everything. So I was like, great. And I
Oh,
got the
wow.
job on the spot.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. But my friends who have taken the ODEO course have all said it's not hard to find a job at SEO.
Yeah.
It's
And,
the
you know,
biggest
especially, I
benefit.
think, especially in the UK, sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, I'm in the UK. I'm a smaller country. It's not America. But it's pretty surprising. Like even you, right? You're working for an American-based company. And if anything, there's actually a lot of SEO companies and agencies in the UK. So whether you're in the UK, whether you're in the US or Israel or South Africa, I mean, it makes different. There are lots of opportunities. Let's talk about your career right now. So can you share what your current role looks like today?
My current role is, I find, quite general, as I said. She'll often give me lots of different tasks along the way. She'll tell me we're low ranking on. So I work for a company. One of them is called, let's say, NYKB, New York Kitchen and Bath. She'll tell me one day we're not ranking well on the kitchen page. Let's find out why. We'll research competitors, we'll research our keywords, what have we been dropping in, and then we'll find ways of integrating all of that into our website, maybe spreading words across the page or across the site. It's very much works on like daily tasks, we need another content for this page, or we're low ranking on another page. And then we'll research as much as we can, as well as citations and backlinks and emailing different companies. That's basically my role. It's very much day to day. And often sometimes my boss will say to me, can you update this page? And then I'll sometimes work on the design and I'll generate pictures from AI. So that's why I said, you're never doing the same thing every day. You're always changing. And it's interesting that, especially for a computer job, it's always changing. It's never boring.
Cool. So like just to present it to our listeners, so you're in more of an entry-level role, more of an assistant role where the strategy is really set more by like your manager, by your boss, and then you're going and implementing. But I imagine that through you implementing, you're learning more and you're starting to see things through the eyes of your manager as well.
100%. The more I do, the more I'm learning. There's hands-on experience is always the best. But the foundation, of course, comes from ODEO. I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't have ODEO. So it all starts from there.
In this specific position, does it look like there's room for growth? Is there the opportunity where they'll come to you and be like, hey, we want you to control the strategy for these websites or for these companies?
For sure. Especially in SEO, I find there's always loads of work. We're forever checking the website. So sometimes it's like, but let's say, for example, as I mentioned a couple of times, is the blog content. It's gotten to a point that I'm just in charge of that kind of thing. My role is basically playing with that. I'm only about a year maybe working for her, and she's already presenting me with just so many tasks, and I'm more or less trust. I usually draft it on a doc and she approves it, and then I just set it up. And most times it's just that's the way it goes, and most times I get it right, more or less. But of course, there's room for growth. There's always room for growth in SEO. The more you do, the more you'll be able to learn it.
What are you most proud of in your marketing journey so far?
Getting right is always the best. And seeing when your websites rank, if they've done better that month, checking in SEMrush, how far we've gone. Sometimes when you update a page and their keywords and, you update it and optimize it, and then you see, oh, it's actually doing well. I find that in SEO, because it's quite general, it's not like Google Ads that you can just put something on and you see it straight away. Then it can sometimes be quite hard to be like, did my content do anything? Like, did my keywords, did my optimization do anything? But after a gradual time, you see what you've done and you're like, oh, interesting, something's happened.
So to rephrase it a bit, you see a lot of little wins along the way over the past year.
Yeah.
You might have not seen like one big like win here or there, but rather it's like those little wins that carry you through.
Yeah, for sure.
Now that you are where you are today, what do you wish you had known before you started your career transition?
Again, as I said, at the beginning, I did not find it easy. The light bulb didn't click for me. Had I known what I'd be doing now when I was studying, I would have thought, like this would have worked, because at the end of the day, the light bulb did turn on. Now that I do have a job, and now that I very much understand all the fundamentals and I'm really, really integrating everything that I've learned, had I known that then, it would have obviously been so much simpler. Obviously, I need to work hard to get there.
What would you say is your favorite part of your job right now? I know you're doing a lot of different things, but is there some aspect that you like more than others?
Doing research and seeing what Google's doing can often be a bit like a challenge. What we're going to do now and what are other people doing, and watching videos and watching podcasts and trying to think about ways to fit in can often be quite challenging. The better part of things is when you've got it and then you're like, right, let's do this. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens to our website. That's usually the more or less nicer side. Happens, and I do enjoy challenge. It's good. It's good for the brain, and you're working through it, and then you actually get the end result, and it does feel good. So, but I can't say it's not so easy. But I find that when you actually start integrating things into the website, then that has a good feeling.
You mentioned podcasts and videos. Are you often watching or listening to marketing or SEO podcasts and videos?
Yeah,
So how often?
As much as I can when I have the time. As much as I followed ODEO's podcast, I often also get Neil Patel's emails on webinars, and I usually also watch those. So as I said, Google's always changing. It's never ended. It'll continue going, especially with AI and the whole new strategies of ChatGPT and LLMs. Watching podcasts really do help.
So where do you see your career heading next? Are there any specializations or other roles that you're curious to explore?
I think I'm still in the state of learning. A year is not so much. It's definitely a lot, but not so much. I actually saw an advertisement on Slack from a job that I think posted maybe. I actually emailed them. They asked me for an interview. So we'll see what that takes. Yeah, it was quite interesting. But I feel like because I'm still in the learning mode, you learn a lot. Then I think we'll see how it goes from there. And then maybe one day I'll be the head of a marketing company.
Cool. Well, we've spoken a lot about marketing and job. Let's talk a little bit about you. What else do you like to do outside of marketing?
Music usually. It's usually the music with my music studio, with teaching, guitar and piano lessons. Not so much now that I moved to Israel, but usually that is more, more or less I focus on. Obviously going out and all with the shopping and everything, but I usually do like to focus on that.
Wait, so tell me more about that. So you're in Israel and you're still teaching music?
I'm in Israel. No, so I was saying that I used to do that when I lived in London. Then I got married, moved to Israel, and I don't actually teach right now just because I haven't really had the second to. But my music studio, more or less, also still trying to get my name out there. Anyone who knows me, I have a studio. But I do recordings.
What type of music do you play?
Piano and guitar.
Very cool. And do you write your own songs?
More or less, started a little bit, but my husband usually does that job.
Cool. That's awesome. So do you guys play music together?
Yeah, sometimes.
Very cool. That's so nice.
Yeah, that's my other focus.
All right. So if listeners want to connect with you or follow you on your journey, where would be the best place to do that?
Probably email.
Okay, because
if they want to hear,
because you're not really on social media, right?
I'm not on social media. I don't work on social media. Email's probably the best. And if they want to hear anything about ODEO, then I've recommended people to the course. I've recommended 8 people to the course, and every single one of them have taken it. And every single one of them have had a positive feedback, and some of them are definitely looking for jobs, and some of them have gotten jobs. I took the course, I think maybe 2 years ago now, and 8 people have taken it, and they're all really enjoying it from what I see. So if you want to know anything about ODEO, you can ask me.
Very cool. Anything else that you want to talk about or anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, just keep going, keep working hard. If you're doing the ODEO course, I'm telling you that light bulb will turn on. No question.
Lovely. All right, cool. Thank you, Shiri. Shiri, thank you so much for sharing your story and being so open about your journey. I think conversations like this are incredibly important because they show what a career transition into digital marketing really looks like, the uncertainty, the learning curve, and the growth that comes with it. If you're listening and considering a move into digital marketing, I hope Shiri's experience gives you clarity, confidence, and a reminder that you don't need a traditional background to get started. You just need curiosity, commitment, and the willingness to learn. If you want to explore more stories like this or learn more about ODEO Academy and how it helps people build real-world digital marketing skills from the ground up, be sure to check out odeoacademy.com. Thanks for tuning into the Digital Marketing Mentor. We'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Digital Marketing Mentor podcast. Be sure to check us out online at thedmmentor.com and at the DM Mentor on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts for more marketing mentor magic. See you next time.